Excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukota Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Uganda Development Forum, in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, is organizing a two-days Musevenomics Conference on the 29th and 30th of May 2025. The conference is dedicated to exploring Uganda's revolutionary economic model under the theme, Sustaining Musevenomics, hence navigating Uganda's economic future in a disrupted world. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the chairman of Uganda Development Forum, General Salem Saleh, will lead a team of distinguished speakers in economics and development. The Musevenomics Conference 2025 is sponsored by Uganda Development Forum in partnership with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, Uganda Development Corporation, Parish Development Model, and Operation Wealth Creation.
Oyo ye Diplock Segawanga chaguze miaka namu 3 May ku National Theatre. The lifetime of melody concert, 43 years of Diplock Segawa performing in Kampala for the first time in a long time. Enyimbo boba do uliambulire kati jangu Diplock Segawa hazikuyimbire. Tickets eya gold ya mtwalo 15 ate VIP ya mtwalo 13. Booking a ticket yo ku noti 765 587 225 oba ku www.carrytickets.com oba ku National Theatre ono ye Diplock Segawa. 23 May 2025 ku National Theatre, celebrating 43 years of Diplock Segawa. Bikutusi wako Charism, UNCC, UNMF, Statewide Insurance Company, UCC, Riz Medical Center, John Joe Fashions, Hot, Q Vibes, Nekari Tickets.
This May 24th is the grand finale of the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo 2025. Festival Day at Speak Resort Munyonyo. Experience a vibrant mix of music, dance, fashion, art, a fun-filled kids section, and an epic boat regatta on Lake Victoria. Live on stage, Luthri, Winnie Nwaji, Abeka Band, Otim Alpha, Suna Ben, Sheila Gashumba, Salvador, Alideki Brian, Crane Performers, and more. General tickets go for 20k and VIP for 50k. Get yours now at tagticketing.com. For what a festival day. Celebrate culture, celebrate Uganda. Don't miss it.
When you want to relax your body and refresh your mind, welcome to Hotel La Confidential, Aroa's premier destination for luxury and comfort. The only hotel in Aroa City offering a serene atmosphere, breathtaking scenery. Come and discover our exclusive wellness club with packages that include a fully equipped gym, a rejuvenating sauna, steam bath, and a great sky blue swimming pool. For events, our state-of-art conference halls and versatile event spaces are perfect for hosting shows, wedding receptions, birthdays, and more. Come and enjoy our cinema hall and unisex saloon, all designed to meet your entertainment and grooming needs. Bring your family and let your kids splash around in our beautiful kids water park. We are located on Aroa Pakwachi Highway in the heart of Aroa City. Don't wait. Visit us on www.hotelconfidential.com or call us on 0761 688 181.
Buza Kamiso now, enhancing tax education and bringing it closer to the taxpayers. Many Ugandans have questions about the taxes they pay to URA.
When we come at revenue, they tell us to clear Chitenge at 10,000. And when we are selling Chitenge, we sell it at 17. So we don't know whether we are working or not.
Understanding your tax obligations can help you grow your business and avoid unnecessary losses. Now, you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
What's black pepper in Uganda?
Kamulali or mudagavu.
What? We're going to talk about the sechunga. We're going to see how big it is, as big as Larry's head. And then we're going to talk about the mangada. So we're going to get there. We have still so many farms to visit. And I would like to hear from you. This is the Little Farmer Show, and we are bringing coolness back to farming. See you!
Juko.
Yo.
What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Good morning, and thank you so much for keeping it on UBC TV. But in case you've just joined, we are always here from 6:30 to kickstart your day with, of course, live events of what transpired throughout the entire night and any news that you need to know locally and globally. I'm Robert Chirabo Nyonyutono. Welcome to the Extra, which is an extension of Good Morning Uganda. Now, this morning, I'm going to be handling a very, very relevant point or topic because it talks about the future to come, and yet the future is with us already. So if you're there, be rest prepared. What is that? That globally MINPA are talking about, and that is artificial intelligence. Now we're going to be exploring Uganda's digital and artificial intelligence landscape. And with me on set, I have guests who are well versed with the topic. And of course, I believe by the end of this discussion, you will have known what needs to be done, what is being done, and where you should put your priorities at any level of growth. Now, join me welcome Lilian Nakasuja, who is the head of strategy and Analytics at Refactory Limited. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much. Very glad to be here.
Indeed. And allow me first to go to my extreme end and welcome Bena Namugema, who is the team leader, Inclusive Growth and Innovation at the United Nations Development Program, Uganda. You're most welcome.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning, viewers.
And last but not least, allow me welcome Dr. Amina Zawede, who is the Permanent Secretary, Minister of ICT and National Guidance. Doctor, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much, Robert. Good morning, viewers.
Now, to begin with, we recently saw the launch of the 2025 Human Development Report, HDR, and it was titled A Matter of Choice, People and Possibilities in the Age of AI. Now, I quickly want to move to UNDP. What are some of the key choices Uganda must make now to ensure that we enhance the benefits that come with AI rather than undermining our development if we're not prepared enough?
Thank you very much, Robert. And once again, good morning, viewers. Indeed, the 2025 Human Development Report titled A Matter of Choice is very timely. It's a bold call to action for all of us, on the continent especially, which has constantly been left behind in the different industrial revolutions. There are very critical things that came out of this report. Like I said, it's a bold call to action for us. What decisions must we make at this point to meaningfully harness the opportunities that artificial intelligence and all these emerging technologies present to us at this point in time, but also for the future. Most of the time, technology has gone before us, and we start to develop policies and frameworks after that. But in this case, we have the opportunity to develop and develop as we go along. So there are quite a number of critical choices that the report presents, but also that Uganda can benefit from. These include things like investing in people, not technology. So most of the time, we elevate the technology and forget to elevate the people. And the skills that the people need to have are very important. So it's very important. It's a very bold call to action for us as a country to invest in the people. And this UNDP and the Ministry of ICT and Refactory will speak to about what we are doing to support development of the critical human resource that we need to harness the potential of artificial intelligence. The second critical thing we need to do is to invest in inclusive policies. Policies that are people-centric, that protect the rights of the people. With these technologies, they can further exacerbate the inequalities we have. But if we are very deliberate and we make the right choices, we'll develop the policies and strategies that speak to the people of Uganda and Africa at large, as well as the world. And then thirdly, we also need to think through what AI can do for us, not necessarily having it as a technology simply because it's good and cool to have. But what does AI mean for the people of Uganda, for the communities that we work in, for the national development strategies that we have? How does it augment, not necessarily replace, these capabilities? So when you look at artificial intelligence, let's say in the context of Uganda, that's an agrarian nation. How does artificial intelligence help us, for example, to predict weather conditions? So really, the critical decisions we must make in this case is how do we utilize it to augment what we have, not necessarily replace what we are doing. Yes, and over back to you, Robert. For now, those are the critical choices.
Well said. How do we? It's been a how think. Now, this takes me to Dr. Amina here, the Finance Secretary, Minister of ICT and National Guidance. Now, this exactly falls under your docket. Uganda, we boast of a young population. Majority of our population are youth. And we know that AI is rapidly eating up job market. So how are we preparing our youth to be able to match up with the competition coming?
Okay, that's very interesting. And of course, maybe this is going to be an opportunity to give assurance to our young people out there in the population that AI is not here to take people's jobs, but AI is here to help us improve the way we do things, or create efficiency or support us to do things better. So as the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, we are well aware that the largest part of our population are young people. Over 30 million people are below the age of 30 years old, and our average age is 16 years old. So as a ministry, we have identified the critical ingredients. So, you know, when you're preparing a meal, you get to know what ingredients do you need and how are you going to mix them together to produce a good meal. So we have identified the critical ingredients for the success of artificial intelligence. Like Bana said, we are not looking at us thinking about the technology without catering for the people or building their capacity in this front. So we have prioritized the key things critical to the growth of artificial intelligence. And these are, you know, ensuring that we have connectivity and digital infrastructure rolled out across the country. So for the next 5 years, starting last year, we have a roadmap that is emphasizing that. And for you to have artificial intelligence grow, you have to leverage on the internet. You have to be able to utilize the internet. Then we are also prioritizing digital skilling, you know, ensuring that we skill our young people, we skill even including people working in government, because when AI comes, it is for everybody. AI is affecting agriculture, it's affecting health, education, the way we do things in government, the way we engage and cooperate with our partners can all be enhanced by AI to support us. Take an example. Today, people are talking about ChatGPT. And on the other hand, they think that, you know, ChatGPT is going to replace your thought process in terms of how you document, how you write a letter, that it's going to do it for you. But we know that garbage in is garbage out. If you don't give ChatGPT the right information, you won't get the right product out of it. So we are skilling people to be able to use AI as an enabler to support them to do their work, not AI to replace their thinking and thought process. An example I'll give is an analogy that I picked from somewhere early in the week, that, you know, every day I use a car, but I don't have to be the mechanic to, you know, to do repairs and maintenance of my car. The mechanic will do their part. I need to drive to work. I don't need to drive myself to work, but the driver will take me there. However, I have the I don't want to use the word mandate. Sometimes I think mandate is associated with government. But I have it is my responsibility to be able to determine the functions of the car that I need, to be able to determine how I want my car to move or feel, so that I inform the mechanic. So here the mechanic, the driver, those are the AI tools. But now the person, myself, I have to be able to know what I want at the end of the day, so that I can guide the process. So in order to facilitate the population, we are coming up with guidance. The ministry's role is to give guidance and direction on how to maneuver this environment, but also create an environment to facilitate the environment in terms of providing connectivity, in terms of getting people to know what are the basic skills required. Of course, others can go and figure out what skills they can attain better than that, but work with training institutions. And government does not work alone. We are working with the development partners. UNDP is among the development partners. We are working with training institutions like Refactory. There's this ICDL, International Computer Driving License. We're working with universities, you know, academic institutions, and all this to be able to all come up with the right guidelines within which we can make artificial intelligence thrive. So to give comfort to the people, jobs, and you know, you're not going to lose your jobs, but however, if you're that mechanic or driver who does not appreciate what your boss wants, so that you align yourself, then you will eventually lose the job. But if you're the kind who will reskill, unlearn the old ways of doing things, relearn and learn new things, then you're going to be the person that will move forward. And artificial intelligence just didn't start today. Artificial intelligence started way back or long ago, because at the end of the day, people are thinking artificial intelligence is about, you know, recreating a human being or how a human being thinks. Yes, we are trying to do that, but in many ways we started baby steps years ago or decades and centuries ago. For example, by the time a calculator was invented, people do mental math and all these calculations of head, but a calculator was invented to do these calculations faster. So you're able to calculate millions, multiply millions or divide them in a second. Then the computer came. Then statistics came where we are analyzing trends and what. Now we have come to artificial intelligence. The improvement or the growth is in terms of the amount of data that we are managing. The more data we are processing requires more sophisticated technology to do that. So that is what we're trying to do, create awareness and education, but also create that environment where AI can grow, because with AI comes many things. I've mentioned and emphasized infrastructure, connectivity, but then you will need data centers, because where will people store their data? Then you need to talk about issues of cybersecurity, data protection and privacy. People have to know how to behave online to protect themselves, to protect their systems and all that. So those are areas that we are prioritizing. Then also the area of innovation and entrepreneurship. With artificial intelligence comes creative minds. Remember I told you all these tools, ChatGPT, name it, Google, Gemini, and so on, they are all there for us, but if you don't have the creativity and innovativeness and analytical mind to think how best you can use it, you can fail to use it, or it can actually become useless for you if you don't know what to do. For example, recently, I think sometimes when I'm going to talk to audiences, I can tell ChatGPT, okay, I'm going to meet an audience of about 16-year-olds. I want to talk to them about how to appreciate, artificial intelligence, come up with the 1 minute talking points about this. And then it will give you everything, but because it's collecting from different areas across the world, but then I have to read through what it has brought for me and then look at the context. Are these examples fit for a Ugandan, audience? Or are they fit for a global audience? That kind of thing is what we need to make our work better. Yes.
Well, the good news here is Dr. Amina has encouraged Ugandans that it is not coming to steal our jobs, and actually it's been there before. Most of the times when you talk about AI, the first thing that comes to people are robots thinking like us, and even better, coming to take our jobs. But thanks for that, and of course know that government is on the right track to ensure first that we have the right environment for this. Now, this brings me to Lillian. I know you've come up with a model. This really talks about gaps that we have and must address to ensure that we are not left behind. Please kindly share with us your model and how it aligns with government development strategies.
So I'll draw from what Dr. Amina just said. Like you said, the model must be all-encompassing. So the refactory model does not only focus on skilling people, we focus on employment, most importantly. The person that we skill, are they able to get into work after they have gone through skilling? We also focus on industry-led partnerships. So we will focus on partnering with the academia, civil society, the government, like she mentioned, private sector. We also focus on inclusion, because the skilling that we do should not only be for people that are around the urban areas. Uganda is a big country. It's not only Kampala. So we need to inform ourselves on what does inclusion mean from a gender perspective, from people like refugees, people with disabilities. So the model of refactory is multi-pronged. I think that's what I would say. In terms of skilling, we focus on software development disciplines. We ensure that we give people the skills that they need to be able to be future ready for work. Like Dr. Amina said, let's not be fidgeting and scared about our jobs are being taken. You can actually reskill yourself. The importance is in knowing, where am I right now? What is required for me to become who I want to become? Where do I start from? So Refactory offers all these levels of learning, from basic digital skilling to advanced digital skilling, which is in software development, to the disciplines around software development, which encompass areas like artificial intelligence, like she mentioned, cybersecurity, product management, but also to understand how do we design around the users that we are doing all of this work for. So the understanding of that knowledge, the skills, but also the tools that you need to utilize to make these skills come to life and be productive and also contextualized to the people that you are doing, developing for, then that makes a well-rounded individual. But not forgetting the skills that AI cannot take over, even if we wanted so much. Creativity, intuition. So like Dr. Amina mentioned, if you're not intuitive enough to be able to prompt AI to give you the results you need from it, it's just going to be another tool. So like a calculator in the hands of a person that cannot do arithmetic is just a tool. But in the hands of a mathematician or someone who already has some mental math, it will just give them all of the results that they need in a second. So it's the intuition. We cannot replace that with AI. How do we train ourselves to be problem solvers, critical thinkers, who are able to see the issues, the challenges we have in our communities, and then address them from a point of, this is what I know when it comes to artificial intelligence. This is what I know when it comes to building products that are applicable. How do I innovate to be able to answer the issues that are in the community? Then how do I enhance technology? So that's how AI comes in to augment what you already know and have. It cannot just operate in singularity. So that's on skilling and employment. If we're able to give learners that knowledge that they need in terms of ensuring that they get into employment, preparing them for work, but also innovation and entrepreneurship, then we are answering the bigger part of the question of there is all this technology, but what do we do with it? A non-skilled population has nothing to do with technology. We will always then keep lagging behind. The technology will keep advancing, but we will not know what to do with it. So that's what Refactory comes in to do. And then secondly is the industry-led partnerships, like I mentioned. So we pride ourselves in being that training, skilling academy that is industry-led. What does that mean? We listen to the industry. We want to understand what is the government planning? What's UNDP thinking about from the report that they have developed through the HDR report? What are the private sector organizations thinking to do now? What new challenges have they found that we need to answer? So Refactory comes in from an industry-led perspective. We create partnerships with the private sector, with the government, academia, to be able to not only learn from them the challenges so that we can be able to solve them, but also to open that pathway, the demand side of work. Because we could skill, like how we have in traditional education, we could skill 30,000 a year. But if there's no work opportunities opened up for them, then they will just flood the streets with a lot of knowledge, which by the way will become obsolete with time. And then they do not have anywhere to apply themselves. So the other side of Refactory is to open up this demand side through the industry-led partnerships. We have strategic partnerships across the board that we use to catalyze a digital economy. So if we're able to speak to these strategic partners in terms of this is who we are producing, how do they speak to your needs? And then also the partners come to us and let us know that these are the needs we have. We need data analysts. We have these huge data sets, but we need data analysts to be able to cover that. We are opening up, I think they're called call centers, but we need people who are digital savvy to run the call center. It's not just about picking up a call anymore. You need to be able to probably reroute a few calls, be able to understand what is the need of the other person on the other end. So all kinds of needs that are not very advanced in nature. Some of them are actually basic, and we can be able to cover work for quite a number of people. And then the last one is inclusion, like I said. I think in the world of technology, most people think it is for the privileged few. And yet the truth is, it can actually be all-inclusive. Women, children, refugees, people with disabilities, everyone can play a part in the digital economy from their context and wherever they can be able to apply themselves and the knowledge that they have. It's not so I have a small business. How do I Microsoft suite to be able to enhance my business, make it better? manage my finances better with digital financial platforms. That's already participating in the digital economy. You don't need to be a software developer to participate in the digital economy. You don't need to be an AI enthusiast to understand how to utilize ChatGPT to fasten up your work. So it's in the inclusion of everyone that then Refactory comes in to say, how do we ensure that the women are not left behind? How do we ensure that the people in the refugee camps don't just sit in the refugee camps?
Well, I think I'll come back to inclusion later on.
Yeah.
But a quick one that I want to put to Dr. Amina. You mentioned about skilling these people in line with the job market. Now, a doctor, as the Minister of ICT and National Guidance, what are you doing to ensure that the training programs and our curriculum are in line with the labor market today as we talk about AI? Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, to start with the skilling from the perspective of the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, first of all, of course, we have to understand and appreciate that ICT is a support tool. It is like if you want to go to the garden and dig, if you don't have the right kind of hoe or the right kind of tractor, you won't get the field, you know, tilled. So similarly, ICT is a tool. So we guide education, we guide agriculture, health on how to use this ICT. So in terms of learning, we are not working alone as Ministry of ICT to change the curriculum. Ministry of Education is the flag bearer of curriculum and skilling in this country. So we work with Ministry of Education together with the entities involved, National Council of Higher Education, and all these other agencies in relation to skilling, and sit with them. So, for example, we have representation on the Makerere University Council and Senate. So we guide at that level how the IT or digital skilling at that level is supposed to be incorporated with our digital transformation roadmap that was launched 2 years ago with the support of UNDP and other parties. We emphasized 5 areas, and I'll just go quickly through them, but digital skilling is one of them. Digital infrastructure, digital services, taking as many services online as possible, cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy. I talked about those as key for us to support our security. Innovation and entrepreneurship, and digital skilling. Now, that digital skilling pillar is actually spearheaded by Ministry of Education. And from that, they have developed their digital skills framework and strategy. Now, that strategy is speaking to how the education sector, right from nursery school up to university, tertiary schools, should incorporate digital skilling. And I think to date we have seen improvements and revisions in the curriculum. The curriculum at primary school, at secondary school, requires that students have to do ICT as a subject. Now, our role is also to ensure, do we have connectivity to schools? Because if you don't have connectivity, then if students are supposed to be using computer labs that require connection to internet, they will not be able to do that. And then we are also supporting on Ministry of Education understanding and appreciating what kind of, for example, certifications are important for ICT, so that those are incorporated within the curriculum or the various skilling programs that we have. So Ministry of ICT is playing a very big role in the support function, but not leading the skilling. It is Ministry of Education that is leading the skilling, but we are supporting. So to that end, we have actually advised that, for example, for us to have effective digital skilling across the country, the teachers themselves have to be skilled. You know, many times we focus on the students, you know, teach the students, skill the students, but then the teachers also have to be skilled. And ICT skilling is not only for IT teachers or science teachers, it is for everybody. English, history, name it, they all have to be able to navigate the internet for them to deliver efficient skill sets to the students, because some of these, if they are to do online content, online lessons and all this, they have to have the capacity and skills to do that. So we are saying, let us go to teacher training colleges and train all these teachers with the basic digital skilling certificate that also incorporates a little, or, you know, I think ICDL has now incorporated artificial intelligence as part of its training. Then we go to communication officers, for example. Government needs to communicate government programs, but we have to leverage on ICT, because today we see communication is being done through social media platforms.
Yes.
But how do they do it if they are not skilled? So we are supporting them to learn how to do digital content, you know, content creation, management, digital marketing, and all that. So we have set what the fundamentals are for digital skilling, and then Ministry of Education has taken this up to be able to inform the curriculum. But we are also coming up with training programs under the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. We have the Uganda Institute of Communications Technology, UICT. Now, UICT is an institution that is offering certificate courses and diploma courses, but it is also that center for professional courses that government is trying to build up or establish, so that if anybody wants to do short courses, their first go to run to person under government is that UICT, or Uganda Institute of Communications Technology. Today it has even set up a lab for augmented and virtual reality. You know, it is trying to embrace all the emerging technologies that are coming up. That is where the National ICT Innovation Hub is set. So you find young innovators, utilization of some of the emerging technologies like 3D printers are there. So if anybody wants to appreciate current technologies, that is the go-to area. But we are also doing short courses and professional courses for both government officials, the public, and even marginalized groups. We are, you know, we are skilling and training people with disabilities. The other day we had training for people who are visually impaired to be able to understand and appreciate how to benefit from the AI. You know, AI is not leaving anybody behind. So how do you use these computers, leveraging on AI to support you to do your work? Refugee communities are also being trained. So in that aspect, we are supporting the training, but also informing what the curriculum should be. And yeah, we shall be good to go as a country. Yeah.
Well, in case you didn't know, that is what government is doing for the government officials, but also you, the public. You can't get skilled. I love the fact that you have short courses, but also very important that the PS talked about is skilling the teachers, because you can only give what you have. You can't give what you don't have. So if the teachers are not skilled, then we expect the students to be skilled. That won't work out. But good, government is addressing that. Now, quickly, let me move to the representative of UNDP here. Now, usually women and youth, and more so in the rural areas, lack access to technology and training. How best can we bridge this gap so that they're not left behind?
Yes, thank you. And your question is very pertinent, especially in this new era of technologies that are moving a lot faster than people can catch up and grab and pick them up. So already we are having the conversation around digital divide. We have communities that have been left behind. And as UNDP, this is the area that we really, really like to work in and support. Supporting the people who are living on the fringe of society, those people who would literally fall through the cracks and not benefit from these digital technologies. So critical to see that these people are not left behind. I'll just piggyback off what Dr. Amina said. Infrastructure. The government has prioritized infrastructure, but of course sometimes it has to be sustainable in nature and make sense for the people who are not utilizing it as often as possible. So how do we build low-cost infrastructure that allows for people to be able to utilize these technologies? Secondly, when we are skilling, how do we make sure that we prioritize these people, the youth, the women? How do we have programs that are geared and targeted towards their specific needs? Because technology is only as good as its usability. How do you utilize it to meet your specific needs and your context? So you're not necessarily going to find a woman in a market utilizing AI, generative AI, but you'd want to know how that technology and that is beneficial for her and meets and services her needs, and it's very important. The other thing is we build government services over this, and without us pushing the infrastructure, then the services can't be consumed by these people. So it's very critical that the infrastructure is there, the skills are built for them, and they are not left behind. So I know the Ministry of ICT has built also has decentralized the skilling. So the National ICT Hub doesn't necessarily exist in Kampala only, but also there is one in Gulu, there is one in Kabale, there is one in Soroti. So these are touch points to be able to skill the nation. And then, of course, public and private partnerships will be very essential for this. How do we work together with the infrastructure providers like the telecommunication companies and all the other service providers to be able to provide low-cost services to these people? That's the only way that they'll be able to benefit from this. Without devices, the technology doesn't make sense. So you're not going to use the technology without the devices. So having affordable devices, and especially devices that can be made in Uganda. Recently, Uganda launched a deep tech facility that is promising to produce low-cost electronics that are made in Uganda. So with this, we'll be able to see that these devices are affordable. Yeah? They have proliferated the entire society. A smartphone is no longer a thing that is only seen in Kampala, but your grandmother in the village can be able to afford a smartphone and will be able to utilize it to access government services, will be able to utilize it to do whatever she needs to do and serve her. The other thing is that we need to design the technology to serve the people. So a lot of these technologies, in fact, when you look at some of the models that have been developed for artificial intelligence, they're only built in English. Now, when you find yourself in a heterogeneous society like Uganda is, how does an Alur, a Langi, a Karamajong, a person from deep down in Kisoro benefit from these technologies? So building technologies based off language models that are understandable by the communities will enable them to be part and parcel of this digital revolution without them being left behind simply because they do not understand the language. And then solutions that meet the people's needs. I really cannot emphasize this enough, because the only way we can't leave people behind is when we build solutions that make sure that meet their needs. So if I'm a farmer in Karamoja, let's say, how can artificial intelligence help me to predict the weather patterns so that I can have better outcomes, let's say, for my crops and things like that. So when these solutions really meet the needs of people, then they'll be able to adopt them. A good case, is we like to give is the case of mobile money. Mobile money was a revolutionizing technology because it met the need of financial inclusion for very many people, where you would have to sit on a bus from Kampala to take money to your grandmother in a village. You simply needed to now get on the phone, dial *165 or 185, depending on whatever you're using, and send her that money. And it was so inclusive in nature because it's very simple to understand. The private sector even went ahead and started to do some translations into different languages and then build different facilities and, on top of that, so people can even get access to finance through these small loans that are given. So when we build like that, we are able to include people as much as we possibly can and without leaving them on the fringe of society.
Well, we are good to go, I must say, because at least we know what is being done and what should be done. Now, this brings in a challenge of partnerships. All my guests have talked about partnerships. And here I want to bring in Lillian. How best can we forge this synergy to ensure that in this era of AI, we benefit more as a country?
That's a really good question, and it's great that it's asked with already existing partners on the set. How do we best leverage these partnerships? I think it's in the understanding of who does what best. So for example, we are partnering with UNDP to skill a number of youth in the emerging technologies, including AI. So what has UNDP as a partner done? Singled out a partner called Refactory with the understanding that this is what Refactory is best at. So if we're to talk about now the private sector, or maybe let's go to the government first, it's in the understanding that the government has access regionally. across the entire country. So how do we partner with the government? I think Bernard talked about the innovation hubs. There are so many community-based innovation hubs that exist in the country that the government has set up. She mentioned a few, Sorority, Muni University, Gulu. So the partnership there then is to enhance what has already been set up with what is required in it. So it's in leveraging each other's best capabilities to ensure that the partnerships work. That is how I see them be able to bring this whole advent of AI and technology. I don't want to focus more on AI, it's emerging technologies and the understanding of digital skills as a whole across the country. Yeah.
Now, usually when we talk about technologies, emerging technologies, Doctor, this is one commonly asked question. Whenever you talk about technology, people talk about national coverage, how we are doing access. We still have some countries, and one of the UNDP's goal is leaving nobody behind. We still have those particular areas where you can hardly access even network. Now, how is government addressing this?
Okay, in terms of addressing the issue of connectivity, of course, government has a role to play, and the private sector also has a role to play. And we need to understand and appreciate that digital transformation for any economy is largely private sector driven. Of course, with government giving the direction to follow. So in terms of connectivity and coverage, government has laid the national backbone infrastructure that is now touching a number of districts up to sub-county level. However, we have also we are going to increase coverage over the next 3-4 years, but we expect that by 2027, end of 2027, we should be covering about 70% of the country. But we also have the national broadband policy that is encouraging sharing of infrastructure. You see, the private sector, the telco companies like MTN have set up their networks, Airtel, but we are saying, you know, if you find Airtel has set up a network in a certain area, Airtel don't come and set up, you know, network there, because then we are running two fiber at the same time, but rather let us share what is here and expand to areas where we don't have access yet. So that is the model that government is leveraging on. Where you find MTN or Airtel or any other company, where you find government infrastructure, don't build your own, but rather leverage on what government has done, and then we expand connectivity. The reason we are doing that is because, you know, getting this infrastructure in place is very cost intense. Yes. It is very capital intense, it's very expensive. So for us to be able to manage the cost while ensuring that we are expanding outreach, that is the model that we are now using. Of course, there are also areas that are underserved, where you're saying that connectivity is not accessed in, for example, national parks. Some areas on the lake might not have access. There's even some districts where you go to and the signal strength is really minimal. So we are trying to ensure, first of all, even as we are licensing these telecom providers, they have a requirement of how far they are required to reach. They are required to reach, I think, 90% coverage of the country. That is a requirement of a licensing regime. But they will only be able to achieve that if we enforce or make sure that the broadband policy is implemented. So that is work in progress that we are doing, and we believe that we are going to see a better performance in terms of connectivity by 2027.
Relatedly, I must ask Doctor as well, is cost of internet. That is also another issue. When we talk about emerging technologies, AI, most of these need the internet.
Yes.
So how are we addressing this when we talk about the youth, the rural poor, the women? They need this.
Now, the cost of internet is attributed to many factors, and I will give an example that, of course, today we see, for example, for example, the expressway was built with a loan, and the road toll was put up to be able to collect money to get that loan back, meaning that you have to increase the traffic on that expressway to be able to recoup that money faster. Similarly, if you want to maintain, I think the best example would be the bus. Just imagine today a bus was taking one passenger from Entebbe to Kampala. The cost of transporting that passenger, whether you have one passenger or the bus full, the fuel will be the same, isn't it?
Yes.
And even the depreciation of the car will be the same. So for you to be able to ensure that this one passenger does not incur this cost of maintaining the vehicle as one passenger, you make sure that you have many passengers on board so that they distribute the cost. So same applies to internet. If we have very few people using the internet, then that means the cost of maintaining this infrastructure will all come back to the users. So our job is to make sure that we get as many people using the internet as possible. What is stopping us from doing that currently is that the cost of devices is still high. So you find that people cannot afford the devices that will hook them up on the internet. And we're having a discussion with the various stakeholders in government, working together with the private sector for us to see how we bring down the cost of these devices. You know, for you to use the internet, you don't need these basic feature, the feature phone. You need a smartphone. And the affordability of smartphones is really a bit high, cannot be managed by farmers, by market vendors. So we're saying, okay, if these costs are brought down, we'll get more people utilizing the internet, and eventually the fee that seems high now as a result of having few users will come down because it will be distributed over the users. That is the dynamics behind the price of the pricing of internet. It's a numbers game. And as soon as we get these devices up, today we are focusing on managing e-waste. And you know, because we are using so many gadgets, computers that we are disposing of, others who are sticking to the rule of the thumb that you have to change devices every 3 years, like the banking sector and all those, have these gadgets that they get rid of by year 3, but are still in good working condition. So if in managing the waste that they dispose of, we are refurbishing these computers to make them as good as new for schools, for example, you'll find that the new computer that is costing maybe over $1,000 can now be acquired at $300. That now becomes affordable, and you will get to see more students utilizing the internet, the digital literacy gap getting narrower because everyone has a gadget to use, and eventually we shall see those costs coming down. So there are a number of dependencies in terms of costs, and I think this is what we need to educate the public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well explained now. That answers the two major questions, connectivity and cost of internet. In the interest of time, please allow me give each of my guests a minute or two for their parting shot, focusing at the vision and call for action. I'll begin with Bana.
Thank you very much, Robert. And I just want to say that AI is here, emerging technologies are here, digital technologies are here for us. They're not necessarily meant to take away, the conversation shouldn't be around, oh, AI is here to take away our jobs, but what we can do with AI in the jobs that we are doing, and how we can use AI to develop solutions for our local context that makes sense for us as Ugandans, but also allow for everybody to come on board in this digital economy without leaving so many people behind. For the youth of the country, there are many opportunities that are available now through UNDP programming, through the ministry programming, through private sector-led programming like Refactory. It's up to you to pick this up, utilize it as to the best of your ability, and ensure that this is working for the people to create dignified, decent employment for the youth of Uganda. They're the future, and we hope that they'll be part of this digital revolution and helping to elevate their voices to make these decisions, inform the policies that we are formulating. So take advantage of this, and hopefully we'll be speaking a better conversation where everybody is benefiting from this and utilizing it to form solutions for our national development priorities, but also for the communities. Those are the people that we are really, really hoping that this revolution will touch.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Benna. And now I'll come to Lillian, your parting shot.
So my parting shots are to the youth. Do not fear. These emerging technologies, AI and the rest of them, are only tools for you to become better. So I want to implore the youth to learn, to keep learning. That is the most important part of life, to keep learning every day. That I have a degree in social sciences does not stop me from going to understand data science. It does not stop me from understanding how to develop products using software. So if we are able to cultivate that culture of problem solving, critical thinking, using our intuition, ensuring that we keep learning, then we are going to become a better society. So all these policies that are being created by the government and UNDP, all the opportunities that are being availed, they are here for all of us to harness, not only for a chosen few. So across the board, people, women, marginalized groups, everyone, if we can be able to encourage the youth to keep learning, to learn every day, then we will be able to build that tech-driven society that we're all looking forward to. Yes.
And finally, Dr. Amina.
Well, viewers, the government of Uganda has prioritized ICT as a support function, but also as that mode or medium that will the country will leverage on to create employment opportunities for the young people. So as government, we are also investing a lot in ensuring that we create an environment that makes this possible, or that is going to enable this to happen. In the area of artificial intelligence, we have even got a directive from Cabinet for the Ministry of ICT to lead on coming up with an artificial intelligence policy for the government of Uganda. So we are working with all stakeholders, government, academia, private sector, development partners, and civil society to come up with that enabling environment that will inform the development of artificial intelligence in this country, as well as emerging technologies and digital transformation. So have all your eyes glued to all our platforms. To our ministry website, we always have opportunities there. On our websites and handles for our UICT Institute, we always have opportunities there. We are currently running a project under JICA where we are doing business matching between innovators in Uganda and potential employers in Japan. So all these are aimed at creating opportunities for you, the young people, and therefore you should be able to embrace them as and when they are availed. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, and above all, my viewer. Thank you so much for being with us. Well, I want to thank Bana Mugema, that is team leader, inclusive growth and innovation at the United Nations Development Program, Uganda. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Robert, for your time.
And also Lillian Nakasuja, Head of Strategy and Analytics, Refactory Limited. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
And the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede. Thank you for your time, and also letting the public know that our government is not sleeping. We are not going to be caught off guard. Uganda is ready. It takes you now to see how best you can fit in by upgrading and also learning more about AI. No need to worry. It won't take us by surprise. Have the best of your day. May the good Lord bless you. See you tomorrow, God willing.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Pick of the day on UBC.
He expected me to die like within the first 2 years.
Out of the blue, the child will get pains, especially in the wrists. And this happens commonly when children are starting to walk.
Was brought to you by
can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
This May 24th is the grand finale of the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo 2025. Festival Day at Speed Resort Munyonyo. Experience a vibrant mix of music, dance, fashion, art, a fun-filled kids section, and an epic boat regatta on Lake Victoria. Live on stage, Luthri, Winnie Nwaji, Abeka Band, Otim Alpha, Suna Ben, Shilaga Shumba, Salvador, Alideki Brian, Crane Performers, and more. General tickets go for 20k and VIP for 50k. Get yours now at tagticketing.com. What a festival day. Celebrate culture, celebrate Uganda. Don't miss it.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort, and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses,